Howdy. Let's get this started. So yeah, today's my birthday. Turns out that I received a Myphitic Blight hauler along with Mortarion uh, as a gift. So I got new stuff to do, which is fantastic. This should get me, once I finish my Plague Marines, right up to 1980 points. I got to finish Mortarion too. Basically, what you see here will be my army when I get to that point, so that's exciting to sort of make that kind of progress. I am in the background putting together bodies for those Plague Marines. Basically, I'm just doing them up pre-shoulders right now, so chest piece, both leg pieces, something on the back. Just kind of pushing my way through that today. And that way I'm going that far so that I can eventually just pick whichever weapons I want on them and be good to go. My Plague Marine squads are going to be super small. About 2 leaders and 5 Marines, which will get them to 7. Yeah, I know, Mortarion. Oh, I've been so scared and been like, I'm not really going to do that. And now I got to do it. So there's that. That will be a long journey that I'm going to do, in subsections. But it'll be a great capstone. I mean, it'll be the cherry on top of the sundae of this army, and it will test my skills to great degree. So that I'm pretty psyched for. Move that mic a little closer. Let me change the color of my lights. Why not? Single color. Yeah, let's go green. Green it is. There we go. The things we can do from our phones these days. Change the color of your lights. Scooch that. Boop. All right, good. Now that that's properly encased. The plan for this guy is I do want him to match, the rest of my army. So essentially, that plate goes on like this, and I'm going to do a mix of the sort of Wraithbone, Seraphim Sepia thing, and some straight up green. It's already primed in Death Guard green, so some sections of this are really only going to get a wash and then detail work. But I got to decide. It's either going to be a stripe of white down the middle or a stripe of green across this way. And I think, given how greeny my whole army is, I think I'm just going to leave this stripe here green, which means I probably should have primed this thing in Wraithbone. No, you know what? Down the middle's probably good. Down the middle's good. It'll get both of these sort of shin things, and the weapons will be green. Yeah, I should flip a coin. If I go down the middle, I know, don't want to overwhelm myself. I know. The neat thing is, though, is that like when I get this army built, I can chill out a little bit. Basically, I'll just be doing for a little while pet projects. But yeah, I duly noted, Dane. But yeah, I'm pretty psyched. Like I can see. I own all the stuff to get this army done. Minus a few extra colors that I ordered from Mortarion. This is like blues and purples that I think I need to get into for all of his mystical mumbo jumbo. I have a lot of thought that needs to go into how I am going to paint him. And I'm probably going to watch a few videos on how other people have done it, so I'm reasonably prepared. I still am scared of the guy. Like that part hasn't gone away. But now I got to do it, which is cool. So, Yep, I'm going to go white down the middle of this, green down the sides. I also have this mega handle that I've never had a use for before because I thought this was the tiny handle when I ordered it. Turns out it was massive. But now I do have a use for it, which is good because this model is a little bit weird to mess with. It's also one of those pegged models. Doesn't use a lot of glue, which was problematic when I did it. I have a little gap there that got little gap there that you can still see a little hole in there. I'm going to just jam a bunch of paint in there. It'll be fine. But it's a really cool model, and it's got like fleshy parts back here. Actually, that makes a lot of sense. If I go down both sides with green, go all the way down the middle with the white, I'll hit this meaty stuff with white, and then that can get Gilliman flesh over it. Sounds like a solid plan. Good times. It was a fun weekend. It is hot in this office, so if you see me sweating or dabbing forehead, it's because the room's hot. Wow, I'm really going through this stuff. Alrighty, I think I'm going to paint this piece first, just because I need a cup of water. Cup of water. There we go. I was in model building mode earlier today, moved all my paints out. Now we're back in painting mode. And I'm going to scooch this piece of paper a little left and get some huge bubbles in it, and then scooch it right and get even bigger bubbles in it. Yeah, now we're good. Yeah, it's interesting because going live with painting has gotten me painting a lot more, somewhat at the cost of the other stuff that I post, which is fine. But I've made it like an amazing amount of progress. I am a little tired, as usual, in the last few weeks. I mean, I basically got a Tyrant, the Miasmic Malignifier, and 3 Chaos Lords done in very quick order, which feels really good. I'm not too worried about burning out. Part of what's nice about this is painting time is sort of like my end of day, most days, ritual. So it's actually pretty relaxing, and there will come times that I don't show up to do this, and that's fine too. And there are other things I gotta do. I have videos that I have to produce, but it's felt really good to sort of keep cranking away at these models, sort of force the issue of me playing someday. And I like streaming. Lo and behold, I didn't think I would. I didn't actually think I was ever going to do it. And then I was like, I got some space on my desk. I'm just going to try it. Turns out it's a heck of a lot of fun. So this white is probably going to take 2 coats. Probably. It might. We'll see. Quite often it does. Always does when I go over black. Sometimes does. That's fine. Absolutely fine. It looks kind of wily on the first coat too. Like it looks thin. You gotta wet it down quite a bit so it's nice and smooth and relatively easy to control and doesn't leave huge honking brush marks. But it always does leave some amount of brush marks on that first pass going over this Death Guard green. This brush is pretty beat up. I'm not sure I need to retire it yet, but the end of it's a little squirrely. Yeah. I mean, I am definitely keeping myself aware of model burnout. And truth be told, like I've run into burnout on plenty of other hobbies as well. Some of it, you know, it's maintainable. I've been at a pretty blistering pace lately, but it's been serving me more than burning me out. But I know that it sneaks up. And I've had plenty of projects in the past sort of bubble up and then fall out of favor pretty quickly. But I also have this whole YouTube thing going on. And part of the reason I did it was to sort of have a side motivation beyond just doing the craft itself, and it works. Um, Having this channel is a crazy amount of fun, and it sort of blunts the all I'm doing is painting model thing. And I've had times where I've like just not painted much. And the neat thing is, like I went for a while and I was just blurting out battle simulator videos because that was fun for a while, and I just didn't quite feel like painting, so I took a break and just did that, and that was cool. And then it was like I took enough of a break, and then I was like, you know what? I feel like painting. Well, I complicated by doing it live in front of people. Why not? That's a sane thing to do, right? Sure, why not? But there'll be an ebb and flow. I won't be able to paint like this like crazy forever. It did get me to a point of like, ooh, do I need to like start thinking about a second army? Yeah, it's interesting you bring up sort of the time frame issue because I also feel like I've cheated a little bit. Like that tyrant is massive, and but it's still just like one model. When I line up little guys, I go a lot slower. And even with the, it does look really painty on this side. More paint and water going. Um, when I worked on the Chaos Lords, I like started having flashbacks to working on small models again, like the 30 Poxwalkers I did. That was a marathon and left me pretty crispy. And then even doing just 4 Plague Marines a couple months ago was really tiring. But like I look at this model and I got like no worries about it whatsoever. Um, this is like I think this is like a great beginner model because it's bigger than a bread box. It's bigger than a little soldier, but it's got a lot of flat, rounded spots on it. It's not laden with details. Like there's pock marks in it, there's cracks that you can put little highlights in, but it has nowhere near as much absolute chaos going on as like just this that doesn't even have the head or the arms or the weapons yet. Like this thing's got 2 skulls hanging from it, guts coming out, a weird tube, skulls back here, all this craziness. Got a bell. This guy is like nicely sized. Fun sized. And he is absolutely adorable. When you put him together, he's got a little face and little hands, little mandible things. He's so cute. Apparently he dishes out some pretty crazy punishment too. I hadn't actually read much about these guys before I got it. And then I like looked up his weapons and I was like, ooh. Yeah. Sometimes getting a model for the sake of painting. Yeah, so I have a Trazen showing up, and that guy's purely just to like hang and paint. I'm psyched about him. I don't quite know what I'm going to do with the teeth yet. I think the teeth on this are going to be pretty dark, I think. So I'm not going to white over those. All that trim is going to be Warlock bronze. That's right. Um, yeah, I do think that Mortarian's going to take a decent amount of stamina. Like, I'm not going to rock through that thing fast. Nor do I want to. Like, it's a nice project. I'm going to treat it like that. I'm going to just break it down into parts, take my time with it. There's no real reason to rush because that model's very much like that to me is like a model to get to paint. You paint them all, but you know what I mean. you know, it's going to be in, oof, almost knocked this guy over. Give myself a little more space here. That guy's going to be a lot of fun, but it's going to take a lot of stamina. Like I imagine the wings, like realistically, especially because I can't rush them. There's like so many potential rounds of washes and things on it. If I try to do it like it's on the box, I still haven't decided, but I can't go fast. Like some nights it'll be like, well, because the stuff needs to dry, it's like I'll be able to do a couple steps on the wings, and then that's it. Which is not a bad thing. That first round with those 3 Chaos Lords painting, though, I was rushing way too many things. I was like tapping it with my finger, and if the paint was coming off, I was like, yeah, it's good. Let's keep rolling. Not doing that with Mortarion. He deserves better. I could probably stand to get these little toot-toot shoots painted with this, but I think they're going to get something a little darker. Anyone that likes Xandria Dust, so it'll probably be fine. Yeah, it is going to be an interesting transition for me. The idea of playing has been so foreign up till recently. Like I knew I've always known I wanted to do it, and like even you look at what this channel's called, it's, you know, painting, lore, and play or whatever. But only just recently has it been like, oh my god, I'm looking down the barrel of this. Like this morning, I was looking up game stores in my area and be like, where can I go play this? Can I go get a game? It's real. It's happening. I do like this model a lot. He's a cute little guy. I also have a pretty long list of models that I definitely just want to paint for the sake of painting them. Like I want something big and orky at some point. A big vehicle. It just looks like it came out of Mad Max. That I definitely want to do at some point. I don't think I'll ever put together a full orc army, but I might. But like that's not the point. Like that tyrant, I was like, I could see myself buying more knights. I could see that, and especially with that guy getting you a quarter of your army points out the gate. Not that unrealistic. That's definitely one of those in for 550 points, in for a pound situations. Yeah, I'm just going over this. I think on that side I hit the metal, but it doesn't matter. That Warplock Bronze will cover up anything when I get to it. No worries there. This is cool. I like how it's got these like overlapping sheets. So interesting when it gets down to the guts of it. Like this thing really sums up what the term demon engine means. That Plague Burst, easy build box or the other. The Plague Burst was not easy build. That was all glue. That one, the parts of that where I've got gaps, I screwed those up all by myself. I found this out after the fact. The directions tell you to put the treads on backwards, and it doesn't feel right when you do it. And I was just like, I'm following the directions. That's life. So my treads are on backwards, but it doesn't matter. They're like street fit. They're built for speed. I had some issues with it. I love the model, but it was, I would say, like, it's a mix of 95% of it is super easy and intuitive to build, but the little spot that isn't, you do get sort of stuffed a little. At least I did. But it's cool. It was the first larger model that I ever done. It is super cool, but it's not particularly easy. Most of it is. The spots that aren't, though, they are like little trip up areas. Like getting the side plates to fit in there right. Like I should have put those in, not a vise, but like I wasn't confident enough to, like I had to follow the directions so much to the letter that I did a couple things that just made my life harder. Whereas if I was a little bit more free flow with building it, and not as worried, if I wasn't as new at the time, it probably would have went better. But in the end, it was fine. I don't want to make it sound like it was like a bad model. I think most of it was just like how new I was at the time. Scooch this. Yeah, so this second coat is just filling. This is just like painting houses, or not the outside, the inside. It's like, that first coat doesn't do it. Second coat will. And the second coat, you just push paint around a little bit. You don't have to worry about getting brush marks on it because it's just not going to be as. I mean, you do worry about it, but a lot of it is like you get some on there, you see that it's finally thick enough, and you can kind of just repaint the brush with quite often what's already just on the model after your first couple strokes. And it becomes really clear the spots that you haven't gone over the second time. There we go. Yeah, that is the good stuff. I love that plate burst crawler though. Now that it's done, like that is a really interesting looking vehicle. A lot of just like aesthetic beauty in it, and it's like totally brutalist, but it feels very Death Guard. Absolutely, in the books, there's just these moments where like you just hear these rickety trucks coming from the distance, and then the mortars start popping. And plague mortars. I did get that side. Of course, my army is going to be quite different now that I have Mortarion. Basically, I'm going to have two big guys. It'll be interesting. You know, nearly half my army is taken up by Mortarion and that tyrant. But I do have both of them. It's just I have much fewer little guys scurrying around. But I do save a lot by not having save a lot of points. Not necessarily going to save a lot of pain. I save a lot by not having anybody in Terminator armor. I mean, I guess Typhus technically is, and I think he can lead Terminators. But those Terminators are awesome, but they come at a pretty hefty premium. All right, the other thing I said I was going to do, and I should do it now, is I'm going to hit all this burgle flesh with Wraithbone as a baseline, so that the Gilliman flesh has something to stick to. And there is some amount of metallic-y stuff in there, but I'm not too worried about that. This can be a relatively gloppy pass. Everything around it's going to be metallic, I think. That undercarriage I might leave green. I'll be a little careful around there. But there's a lot of metal edging right around it. I have to get my head in here. Yeah. This guy is cute. I am super happy I have this mega handle. It's the only model I've ever had to use it on, but man, this guy's awkward. He's a great size to paint. He's not a great size to hold. this guy. I'm so glad I have him. Like, he adds such a neat aesthetic to the army. A very small vehicle. Vehicles all sizes. And he is packing some heat. Like, I have a feeling he's going to get shot to the other side of the moon very swiftly. Because he's definitely a threat. Alright, I'm going to worry about all that stuff that's in those gaps. Later, TM. I don't need to really struggle with it right now. There we go. Alright, so just a couple little dabs in here and there. Just to get that moving. And to give all this wraithbone a little time to dry, because we're going to do this responsibly this time. After this step, we'll move on to some agrax on the spots that I'm keeping green. It's not easy being green. That'll give me something to go back to. Let's look through here. Yep, I am going to get this a little bit white painted in there. Yep, I can just see it. Just see it. Get over this hump. Yeah, that was a good idea. Good idea to do this now, buddy. Sneak in there while I can. That's not a really good spot to hit, but I did hit it. Posted my game last Friday on the Sea of Blue. I will check that in a moment. You know what? I might as well go over this edge because it's supposed to be hidden. The last thing I need is some weird little gap. Might as well go over it. It would stink. Put the whole thing together and then you just have this weird green line floating around in there. Alright. Yeah, both those little eye sections are handled very quickly. I take this and I gingerly put it on like that. That looks pretty rad. So now I can close this pachunga up. And I do realize I'm probably going to have to look under this model a lot. He's not glued down. He's just got 3 posts that are pushed in. I had to shave him down to get him in there because the primer actually made the post big enough to not fit through. But when this guy's done, before I actually glue him to the base and base him, I'm going to pop him back out. If there's anything I missed on the absolute underside, I can hit it then. Skeleton Horde, agrax, earthshade, my old friend. Hey, thanks, buddy. Thanks a bunch. I hope your day was dope. And yes, I don't feel a day over 47, Derek. Not a day older. But yeah, thanks, man. Yeehaw. Screw back here. Oh no, today's my birthday. Trust me, that guy Derek knows. Today is the actual day. Thanks, man. Yeah, it's not going up as crazy as it was the other week, but I'm getting incremental growth, which feels really good. I'm still a big deal in Ukraine. That's where a lot of my subs are coming from. A lot of those battle videos are still just pulling people in. The Henry Cavill one did pretty good, broadly speaking. My demographic has widened. For the first 3 months I was on here, it was like, I mean, for lack of a better term, it was just all dudes. Um, and now it's like 60-40. And my age demographic 3 months ago was literally like right around my age. It was like whatever it is, like 40 to 50 or 42 to 50. I should do some Halloween models. I'm standing in your kitchen. Nice. Eat some. That's right. I've been stalked. Standing in your kitchen. You are standing in my kitchen. There's sushi in the fridge, dude. Um, yeah, don't worry about that guy, Derek. He's a good dude. Lives in my house. We talk YouTube strategy. He's got a cool channel too. You should check it out. His name's Shroom. Do, do, do. You're welcome, buddy. What a world we live in, where I can literally be sitting here on a stream painting stuff. Got Derek in my kitchen, and I'm telling him what he can eat out of the fridge, what's there, via stream. Secret ghost painter exposed. He's very talented, but he does not. He doesn't, as far as I can tell, he doesn't paint many. He's an excellent guitarist. Puts me to shame on guitar. And he's better at video games than I am, but I get to make them for a living. So there. So this may be, I mean, with the exception of the little details in here, this may be all these big patches need. It's just some agrax. Yes. So Shroom is his brand mask. Um, indeed. Yeah, he's got some fun stuff. I like his videos a lot. And he's got some bangers. Like one of them is just, I don't remember how many hundreds of grillions of people saw it, but he like found something in World of Warcraft that like no one had seen yet. He just like flew off this island, found this secret place. I think it had a boss on it. Blew up. It's got some good Subnautica stuff. And it's funny because he himself was like, I was recording me painting before I did YouTube, and I was recording it just for myself, so I could sort of like check my own technique out and see where I could get better. And he was like, "You should start a YouTube channel." I was like, "Yeah, whatever." Um, and then I did. So I guess you were right on this one, Derek. Pardon me, Shroom. Guess you win this one. There we go. Cute little tail. It is a little creepy. You get used to it. Took me a few years. All right. So this has a lot of little bolts in it. So this agrax is just going to get right in there and hug it out. All those little bolts make them like pop out a bit, which would be good. I have the sinking feeling that this Agrax treatment might not be enough in my opinion. I'm not gonna streak and grime it, but I may have to add a little bit of something more to this. This may be a little boring for me. My sister's on the phone calling me for my birthday. I'm not going to pick up while I'm on here. She's West Coast, so I'll catch her later. I'll text her back in a second, though. Yeah, I mean, he's not a random stranger. It's my son, stepson, however you want to put it, lives in my house. So he does eat my chocolate chip cookies. It's just that I know about it. He's actually welcome to eat my chocolate chip cookies. That's why I buy them. Family chocolate chip cookies. My YouTube sensei. Yeah, exactly. And you're welcome to it. No, I know. It's I know, Dane. Just having fun. But yeah, how funny is that? Like, I don't have to scream across my house. Be like, there's food in the fridge. Just like get news over the stream. Easy peasy. All right, let's get underneath this thing. I think should be all washed up. I am going to get underneath there right now while I'm here. I know I'm going to have to flip this model eventually, but or do I do that as metal? I'll do it as both. I'll do it as both. I'll be indecisive. All of these struts and things are going to be shiny and then grimed down metal, so I'll leave some of this ceramite as green. We got a lot of sushi tonight. That's my birthday jam. Just order sushi. You don't have to do any dishes. 2-year-old ate some sushi tonight, which is crazy. Little kid. She's like, raw fish, no problem. It's salmon. Yeah, we got. I'm pretty stuffed with sushi. That is, I think, enough coverage for now. I'll worry about the undercarriage of this a little bit more when I get closer to the end of the model. I don't know. I will keep painting and I'll reserve judgment on this just agrax over the primer. But at a blush, it doesn't feel like it's enough chaos for me. That's true. So how my office is, that's a good point. Or I'll just pay you to play background music. This office is actually a hole drilled in the floor, so I could get. I'm just gonna call you Shroom. So I could get Shroom direct cable line to his computer for internet rather than doing Wi-Fi. So there's a hole about the size of like a silver dollar. So if he's rocking out down there, I can hear it through this little hole. Barge into the 8 string. Go perfectly. It would actually go perfectly. All right, I'm going to move forward to Seraphim Sepia. And in doing so, this will get us kind of, sort of, all of our main non-metallic colors. I got to figure out what I'm going to do for his Tiefers. I'll go dark or light for that. That's all meat. I got to get that meat. All right, so I'm not going to Seraphim Sepia yet. I got some more Wraithbone to do. I missed a spot. I know. Father-son YouTube thing. That would be pretty hilarious. Not sure I can pay us both on the 98 cents I made the other day, but we just keep growing. We'll find a way. Yeah, he just got home from work, so he's the safest way to wish me a happy birthday without banging on the door. All right. So if you remember this fleshy part, I'm doing it. This is a base, and then it'll get some sort of whoop. I missed that. Skin color, which I think will be Gilliman flesh, because I liked how that looked on the capes from the other night. I feel like we could dilute both of our channels. Nah, he's significantly older than that. He's an old man. A grown ass man. He still might say who's shiny. He does say who's shiny when he comes in this room. Maybe not directly, but he gets a kick out of my weird nerd setup. He's a nerd too. Everybody in this house is a complete and utter nerd. It's fantastic. Everybody's a gamer. 60 million screens going at once. And I'd have it no other way. Every once in a while, there's some pretty cool stuff going on in this office. Not just this epic stream. A lot of cool toys. You don't really get too much behind the scenes of my absolute cable mess that I barely have held together. I find time. So here's the thing. I'm actually pretty psyched to like finish off this army because there's a lot of just dumb crap I got to do to make this space workable again. Or at least improve it. I got to get the lighting better. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 tiny. Oh, 5. You can barely see that, but it does make a difference. 5 little lights going. I have bigger lights showing up at some point. And the main reason of that is so that I can run the camera at a more closed aperture, which lets less light in, but allows you a bigger depth of focus. I think you probably remember a couple of weeks ago I was having real trouble keeping focus going. A lot of crap like that I got to do. The cable management behind here is an absolute joke. It's not managed. So to, excuse me, have a little bit of time to just make this a little more manageable would be good. Yeah. All right. Now I think I got all the spots that I meant to get. All right. So, one quick additional spot for some agrax. And I'll throw the Seraphim Sepia on, and then it'll be a lot of metal work. A lot of metal work. That's a little dark. Easy there, buddy. There we go. That's all going to be metal in there. I do want to get in these little cracks though. Get that agrax in there. Get some contrast going. All right. This will make good crossover with my other models, and it'll keep this thing from getting just lost in the sea of green, which would be good. Nice harkening back to the old days of the Death Guard. I should probably water this down just a dab. Yeah. It looks really good in these little recessed pock marks and cracks. Just want to make sure that every part gets a bit wet so that the color in there moves around and is able to scooch where it needs to go. Generally won't run onto dry spots. Just kind of push it through and get it to all those cracks and crags and crannies. Then it will settle where it needs to go. Do its thing. A little gloppy over there. Just dry things up a little bit. You see it starting to pool. It's telling you where it wants to go, and if it's too much, pat the brush a little bit dry. Just touching a couple spots, and it'll soak it back up a little bit. But these are supposed to be demon engines and weathered machines. You don't want to soak it all back up. Just get this edge in case it's visible. Probably is, TBH. Starting to mumble. Means it's tea time. Yeah. Whew. Oh, that's right. I gotta sip out of my branded mug. I'm only doing this to flex on Shroom. Oh, let's see. Ooh, look at that. It's got the little guy I drew on it. What do you think about that? I got some baby onesies coming in the mail too. You have to cut down on the coffee a little bit. It is funny though. I'm convinced at this point some of it is a musculature thing. And Derek is in far better general purpose shape than I am, but my hands used to shake a lot more, and it wasn't just the caffeine. And he is a guitarist, so I'm not sure that you'd shake that much, but you do get used to it in such a way. Yeah, show off that mug. My hands do shake a heck of a lot less, and some of it is just a matter of getting used to the movements a lot more over time. And I can tell when I'm tired because I'll start shaking again. But for a while, I thought it was only the caffeine. It's definitely not. The other thing is, after you've painted for a while, put enough, hours in. Yeah. I'm ordering stuff. I still haven't gotten the store to work. It was up for like a day or two, and then a bunch of my stuff got rejected. Because I have to fill in a ton of product information that I haven't done yet. But whatever. It's fun. I'm going to literally use every last thing that YouTube does. I'm going to turn on every last feature because I'm morbidly curious about everything. I didn't expect to get this far, and now that I'm here, I'm like, what do you mean I can sell mugs? I don't even care about mugs. I'm going to do it. what a strange process this is. It's going to be all flesh. That's going to be all flesh. Mug salesman. Baby clothing designer. I'm just going to make a bunch of stuff that I want and just like order myself the free, no, it's not free, the at cost sample of it just so I have it. Just like force my family to walk around in my YouTube channel branded merchandise. Want me to make dinner? Put your 0 to 40K t-shirt on. Such a tyrant. There we go. That's looking pretty good. So, as you can see, you know, this guy, he's definitely going to need more green on the green spots. I don't like that, but it'll be a nice split of color. I'm a little tempted to do the whole thing like that, but I'm just not gonna. The green part needs to be greener, and that's almost surely gonna get green slime. I think it's gonna need it, but I'm still gonna wait. I'm not gonna do that tonight. I'm gonna let the sepia dry a bit. Oh yeah, it's still early. Sweet. My next thing I do on here is gonna be Gilliman flesh. I could do that. If I set this guy aside for a minute, go back to the first one. Does he have anything that needs to be fleshy? He doesn't. All right, so it is all going to be on here, but it's totally different spots, so I can do these in order. And then after this, I'll probably get to metallics. Okay. Yeah, good stuff. Should I? Well, it's white. Wondering if maybe I should dry brush it first. Nah, I don't need to. I'll dry brush it after. If it really requires it, I'll hit it afterwards. Just look. Yeah, this is gonna look like meat sack. Oh, Gilliman flesh, what an amazing paint you are. So funny that I got this far without ever really contrast painting. And then now that I go back and like check it out, it's like this Games Workshop's big push to make sure nobody's sitting on a pile of gray plastic. All this marketing stuff out there, all the famous painters trying it out, and it's pretty cool. Like, you know, I wouldn't want to use it for everything, but it does get stuff done. It's an interesting tool. You should use all the tools afforded to you in the toolbox. Let's get all that meaty stuff there. And once again, I can be totally sloppy here because that's going to be shoop covered over by that. Did get my fingerprint on it, but we'll live. All right. Yeah, there's more meat up here. Perfect melding of meat and machine. And yeah, we're laying it on pretty thick. I think that last little bit back there, I probably should have hit with white. Maybe I'll go over with something a little crazier. I'm just going to hit it with Gilliman for now. While it's on there. I think that little spot at the end is going to need something special. But it is starting to come together. Obviously that white is like super light. So this whole fleshy part is going to need some amount of additional work. But for now, that Gilliman flesh contrast paint is working like a champ. if people do multiple coats of contrast paint, but I might choose to do that. Might work. There we go. Just slop it in there behind that tread. All right, so it's starting to look fleshy. It's not particularly dark. It's a little hard to get in there, but some amount of dry brushing will be fine. Some amount of highlighting will be fine. I'm gonna hit this guy with a little bit more on this side so it sort of catches up in the absolute horrific gloppiness of the other side. There we go. Yeah. Sloppy, sloppy. I'm digging it. It looks cool. Set that aside there. Now I can go back to that first piece with relative ease. Keep it metal. Find a tiny brush. Do I have any tiny brushes left? Did I kill them all? I don't think I killed them all. That one's pretty small. That one's in reserve. Warplock Bronze, my old friend. Stuff is getting thick. I'm guessing I probably just like poorly shook it every single time and it just keeps getting thicker and thicker. $12 and up in the UK and Canada. Wonder what this Plague Burst Crawler is going to look like when it's done. Oh, it's done. You talking about mine or you getting one? Bork. That is one meaty, dripping with blood, with a bunch of grit on the tracks, a bunch of rust in there. That is one Plague Burst Crawler. I do think this is a fun model. Oh yeah, this one's a Blight Crawler. All right, so we got all this metal. We are going to just run it down. Grab some more thick stuff. This paint is so thick. I should probably thin it down a little more. Yeah. Now I gotta be careful. Because I spent all that time shading. Don't want to screw that up. We don't. And these are straight edges, but with a lot of tiny little recesses and nooks and crannies and fun spots that if you start getting lazy, you'll absolutely just paint over. And everything's fixable. But I don't want to get in that infinite loop of fixing one side, fixing the other, fixing one side, fixing the other again. Like I just went over a bit with that. I'm not going to freak out about it, but I am going to dab a little bit of water. Just get in there and clean him up a little bit so he doesn't dry. It does. It does. It's very fitting for Death Guard methinks. How a lot of their Horus Heresy models were completely done. I guess some of them had a little bit of green on them. Does look like bone, and in fact, this is the treatment that I use for most of the bone stuff that I do. Wraithbone and Seraphim Sepia. Any little skulls that are hanging off of my Plague Marines, they get it. Any of those spike coming out of the shoulder, spike coming out of the forehead, they get it. I missed a little spot there. All right. Gently. So gently. I'm much less heavy-handed than I used to be. Still freak out a little bit every single time. Go nice and slow. Just use the tip of the brush. Make sure my head's not hanging over in the shot. Sometimes I go back and watch these videos and it's just like, it's comical. See how much I struggle to actually paint and record this at the same time. Hand just floating off screen. Head in the shot. It's a lot to manage. Even though it's just me sitting around painting stuff. Get this edge down here. This edge over here. All right. Now on the side, we got this. Whoop, don't you drop. Got this. I think I'm going to do that whole thing in bronze, and if it doesn't look good, if I want to do that little circular thing, and yeah, I'll save that. I'll save silver for that. That'll look cool. Be a little extra detail over there, and it's needed. Or I'll just paint all over it like I just did and be stuck with it. Who's to say? I'm struggling a little bit with that corner, but you're going to see a Q-tip in a second, buddy. Not bad, not terrible. No worries. I'll just pull a little bit of that back. I think that nugget on the corner there, I'm going to hit with lead belcher later. I just did it again. Whatever. It's meant to be. I'll get this topward edge first. Get that all squared up. Catch it at an angle. And we'll get the facing edge. Yeah, it's really nice when you set the thing down. I'm going to do that more often. Just set the model down. Then you only have one hand shaking instead of shaking like this and shaking like that. Alrighty. Just a little dab more. Along that edge. Man, I could not have done that even close a few months ago. It's getting sweaty in here. Cracking under pressure. Front edge of this. Actually, I should probably get in there a little bit. I know it's risky with that eye, but Better if I do this now than if I try to do it later. Once I've gotten any detail in there, I'll be shaken out of nervousness, not ineptitude. There we go. I touched it. No matter how much you improve, you still will make some of the same old mistakes of grabbing a piece of a model that you just painted. You goon. Got it. All right. That is square now. I will have to wait to do this side of it. Just because I won't have a place to grab. It is what it is. More paint on there. Get all up in here. Just get close to the teeth, but not hit them optimally. Yeah, don't worry when you hit it. You just don't want to do it a lot. A little bit's fine. Yeah, that's cool. Do keep Q-tips close at hand. I tried using chopsticks or a thin needle poked in so you don't have to touch. It would be smart. I think what a lot of people do is they take a small stick, super glue the end of it, just dab it onto the thing. It's not the worst idea. Not the worst idea. This is just a very weird part, so truth be told, what I could do is this, but I don't feel like it, and I don't know why. Maybe I'm just being stubborn. But I could do that, and then all I would be handling is this thing. Of course, it is sitting there just fine, and now my arm doesn't hurt from holding it, so maybe I have all the tools at my disposal and I'm just not using them. But I have seen plenty of people put it on, like put a piece like this on a tiny stick, and it's either stuck on with that white stuff, that white grippy stuff, or a dab of super glue. I'm making use of all the tools this evening. A little bit more water in the mix, thin it out a little. Once you start getting in these really tiny spaces, yeah, I hear you. And generally speaking, do that. It is an interesting part of streaming this. Like, I'm not worried if I have to like get up and take a break, but I wouldn't go through the routine that I normally would, where like I do a step and then I just like dip off to my computer and do something for like 10 or 15 minutes. Like, I want to keep it moving as much as I can. Especially because there's actually like a decent number of people that go back and watch these videos after the fact. And yes, obviously after the fact, they could just like, I'm gonna fast forward. Hey Para, thank you very much. I am having a good evening. I'm out here painting models, living the dream. Filming the stream. Thank you very much. It was a great day. Had a great dinner. Ate sushi. Put a lot of stuff together. Received Mortarian, the most terrifying model of all time. But now I gotta paint him. Gotta do it. cornered by my own wife. I mean, basically, it's like Mortarion, Magnus, Angron looks pretty brutal to do. I probably worry a lot about both Gilliman and the Lion as far as painting them because they're super tiny. I mean, I know they're big for little dudes, but they're still little dudes. Mortarion is definitely in that class of models where it's like it just looks tough. It's really tough. And many hours of work. Just trying to get the inner edge of that loop. So I don't expect anyone to go back and watch it, but the two streams that were for those Chaos Lords that I did, I really struggled in the first one, and I said it even, excuse me, at the time, that I'm sure you're absolutely right. Like you walk away from the paint, and the paint cures. Like it doesn't just dry; it soaks into what's underneath it. Like this light color, if it hadn't been done over this green, it'd be very different than it is right now. I've proven this out because some of my Marines, their primer coat isn't this green. Some of them it's black. Some of them it's that wraith bone, and it looks very different. You don't see stuff soaking through. And there's a little bit of chemical bonding going on when you walk away from it. And that's what I lose out on a little bit when I stream because I just want to handle the model in a way where I can just keep moving. But I do think it was good when I did those Chaos Lords because I finally realized it. And when I came back for the second session, the next day or whenever it was, like it flowed a lot better. I think it's going to be like 3 or 4 tiny models at once so I can like do some stuff, set this guy aside, do some stuff, set this guy aside, and get in rotation so things are drying. But the main thing was like, when I move on to my Plague Marines, I'll have a much better plan of attack with those Chaos Lords. I was trying a lot of new stuff and learned a lot of cool stuff. Those cloaks and furs came out awesome. And that was just purely out of experimentation and getting the suggestion of Flesh Cloak, which was awesome. And I'm really glad how it turned out. But there's not much room to walk away. I mean, I can't, and I have. I have a thing that says back in 5 minutes. I'm not afraid to do it, but I don't want to do it as just general practice. Clamp you there. Are you safe to clamp there? You still wet? Can't tell. All right, we will get this side. That's Warplock Bronze. It is not Balthazar Gold. I use... This stuff is dark. And I use it very intentionally because it has, when you see it in person, it still has a shine to it. And you can definitely see it like through the camera here, but it's dark. And so you get a crisp, outstanding, I don't mean outstanding in the great, but it stands out line when you use this rather than Balthazar Gold. Yeah, I know you guys are waiting. I know, and I have. But I don't want to like have half of these episodes just be me like getting up and walking somewhere because the paint needs to dry. Don't worry, I'm not rushing things that much. Everybody's super patient. I have like the most mature following of all time on this channel. Like, everybody's a nice grown adult. It's fantastic. I love it. People are like, why don't you do a bunch of jump cuts? Do a bunch of hip things. It's like, well, because the audience I want is pretty much chill people that like to nerd out to Warhammer and painting and stuff. So guess what? You get what you pay for. No, I don't, and I also don't stream all that long. A lot of people say like you should stream in like 4-hour chunks. And I'm like, man, it is a work night. I'm already in a food coma. It's just more fun to paint with other people around. And it's hella fun doing it alone. Just taking some folks along for the ride. All right, I like this thing a lot more than when I bought it. Yeah, I mean, all that stuff's neat, but I don't mind it. And I watch plenty of stuff that's like that, but not for me. This is old, tired, public access TV. Chilling, hanging out with good people. Don't use 80 different colors in my thumbnails. It's definitely not like an old man get off my lawn thing. It's just that like I think it's okay to watch that kind of stuff. I just don't make it. I also don't have the time. I can only edit so much. Otherwise, my content comes to a complete grinding halt. You know, part of streaming is that it's very cool to do it live, and then when I'm done with it, I don't edit them. I just tell it to auto publish them when they're ready. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Okay, all I gotta do is get this ring around here, and I'm in pretty good shape. How are you looking? All the way around. All right, that piece looks pretty good. I can plunk him off of here, set him down carefully. Move the bionic arm away. And keep on moving. All right, scooch. All this is gonna get Warplock Bronze. Color of Champions. I'm a pretty decent cook in real life. Pretty decent. He's too kind. I do make some good food. It's not always a hit, but I do alright. Sometimes on the weekends, I do slow barbecue some stuff. And that's a lot of fun. Lots of smoky meats. Eats half that food. Instant ramen is awesome. I love instant ramen. Crack an egg in it, though, takes it to another level. There we go. That looks pretty good. Sneak in there. See another little spot that I missed. See plenty of little spots that I missed. That was my eyesight. That's how you know. And just get a little in there. Instant ramen's dope. I mean, A, you can live on it. B, there's a million ways to, like, if you feel like kicking it up and making it a more filling meal, any kind of stuff. So many ways you can embellish it. Just like, I got some frozen peas. You dump them in there. It's like, oh, now it's got a bunch of frozen peas in it. So bacon in there? Whoo! Bacon in instant ramen? Game changer. I think it's like an amazing way to just take care of leftovers. Just make some ramen and dump some leftovers in it. Oh yeah, pancakes? Psh, dope. Pancakes are awesome. Love pancakes. Make them for dinner sometimes. Breakfast for dinner is the jam. That's for sure. But yeah, I worked in a bunch of restaurants when I was younger. Nothing like famous restaurants, none of that crap. But I think I took my first restaurant job when I was 15, and I think I left my last one when I was 25. Like all through college years and then some, and preceding them, always just had a restaurant job at some point. Good work. I mean, it's hard work. It doesn't pay as much as it should, but it is good work. Feeding other people's like you sleep at night. You're not building bombs. You're not swindling people out of their hard-earned money. You're just putting food on a plate for people. Oh yeah, he's wearing his internet suit, streamer persona. Oh yeah, chocolate and honey. Psh, heck yeah. Now we're talking. I just made Belgian waffles the other night for dinner. That's like a crowd pleaser. Belgian waffles got that space. We put anything in there. You could stash a plague marine in those Belgian waffle creases. All right, that's looking pretty good. I think there's a little more in here that I gotta get. Yeah, there's a little bit more metal in there. Oink, oink, oink. Oink, oink, oink. There's actually a little bit of meat in there that I'll get another time. I'm not trying not to get too many of the super tiny details this time around. No, we're not gonna have them wave. My door's closed, the sign's flipped. You'll just have to trust. But no, he is that same guy that lives here. He's got his Derek account and then he's got his brand account. Shroom is his nom de plume when he's streaming. Just like my name in real life is definitely not 0 to 40K. I know. I know. I'm just telling him not to come knocking on my door. Not that he would. Yeah, exactly. It's a grind, man. Yeah, exactly. People actually thank you for it, which is more than you could say of most jobs. Of course, some people just absolutely dunk on you for it, but like those people are miserable to begin with. You can't really let them get to you. It is, for the most part, honest work, working in a kitchen. At the very least, like it's what you see is what you get. You get to feed people. You get to feed people, and like, man, you get to feed people on their first date. You get to feed people on their birthday. You get to feed people, like the people that made the sushi that I ate for dinner tonight, and they had it delivered. It's not like I even was in their kitchen, but like, you're part of people's happy moments. That's pretty cool when you think about it. It wouldn't actually bother me. I'm just not going to give his channel any extra brand exposure unless he pays me for it. Kidding. Come in here, steal my mug designs. We have a lot of fun talking about YouTube stuff. It's pretty hilarious. Having someone in your house that told you should start a YouTube channel, and then you start one, and then you got someone to talk YouTube with. Weird. This is such a like 2020s family situation. Like a sitcom thing. How's your YouTube channel doing? Like, man, when I was growing up, the idea of talking to someone in your house about YouTube in a practical, pragmatic, your YouTube channel sense, it's like the most foreign thing ever. And of course, now I bother my wife constantly about it because I think it's hilarious. Anyway, she's stuck with me. That's life. How you married? I don't know. I like to think she didn't do terrible for herself either. Alright, so I am starting to wobble a little bit. So I'm going to start looking for an out. A certain point at which this painting, or at least I am going to just put the brush down for a minute. I am feeling pretty good about this guy though. Pretty solid. So this thing plate goes on, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to clip these little holes out of here or clip those posts down. Now that the thing is primed within and without, those things don't match up well. But that's basically like how it's going to look from the front. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with the teethers. Obviously that eye will probably be red, but I might go with like purple or something. I've got, before this goes on, I've got these treads to do. I will leave those posts on because they're hidden and they keep the chassis from sitting directly on the treads. But I'll probably do the treads in black. Do them in black and dry brush them with some metal. And then those will get a bunch of glop on them. So get a bunch of dirt, so it looks like it's been driving. Yeah, I know, pretty cool. It's a Myphitic Blight hauler. Yeah, it is. It's rad. And this thing, like, it's got crazy teeth. It's beautiful. It's got an eye. Its teeth. It's a demon engine, man. It's got treads. It shoots missiles. It's got a melta gun. It kicks butt. Like, it's not super tough, but it can shred tanks if you need to. It's tiny and cute. Stretch this arm out. It's funny that my left shoulder hurts. My right hand that I paint with is fine. It's the one that I'm holding the model with that gets the full like craw arm treatment. That's good tea. Good tea. Yeah, I think if I hit 40,000 subscribers, you'd probably come in and just decapitate me midstream. Oh, interesting fact, and please don't do that, but interesting fact, I didn't think that there was any other milestones to get to, but at 10,000, I could do charity. Can do charity streams. I would like to do that. That's my next goal. Anywho, I think I'm probably going to call it quits for the night. We got a good amount of progress and a lot of the body done. There's a lot of tiny details of work to do. There'll be more warp lock bronze across, pointing at things you can't see. Across the spine there, the teeth. I'm thinking more and more, try to get them like stained teeth, like my teeth. Eons of cigarettes and coffee So that'll probably get that white, but then it'll get skeleton horde, which will brown it up a little bit. We'll do the whole metal thing on the treads, and then a lot of little stuff, like these little toot things coming out of here. I don't even know what those are. It's a demon engine. It's got excessive mufflers on it. But yeah, teeth, treads. I'll get a little bit of red color in for like the heads of the missiles and stuff like that, so that'll pop. We'll see how it looks there. All of this flesh is going to need more stuff done to it. Like those boils, yeah, it's still a little bit wet. Those boils got to get done. Those will get Nurgle's rot, maybe some yellow in there. And then there's a bunch of stuff that needs to be done with Lead Belcher. All these vents and stuff. So there's more to do, but this guy's about halfway done, I think. So anyway, thanks a bunch. We're at 5,000 subs. Yeehaw. Yeah, and just a few more models left. Thanks a ton. Have a great night. And thanks for stopping by. Take it easy, Shroom. And all of y'all. I'll hit the kill the stream button. Bye-bye.